If you're getting ready to sell your business, there's one thing that I would really encourage you to do is to look at your business through the lens of a buyer. And I say that because I speak to business owners all day long, every day. I'm a business broker. It's what I do. I help people sell their businesses. And a common trend in the conversations I have with business owners is that they're very prideful on what they've built, and they should be, right? Starting my own business brokerage firm, one of the most difficult things I've done. You go through hard times, you put your own money into it, you have late nights and early mornings and slow times and overloaded times, right? And so it is a very difficult thing to do. There's a reason why 65% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. And what I tend to hear is how prideful these business owners are in what they've built and how hard they still work in their business and how the relationships they've built are so strong with their customers and their employees, and how they go out to job sites, they work every day, they bring in revenue, and those are all great things. But what I would really encourage you to do if you're getting ready to sell your business is just take a step back for a minute and look at the situation through a buyer's lens. Let's say you do want to sell in the next 12 months, 24 months, or 36 months. What if you were the buyer for your business? How would you view that, right? Are you going to look at your business? Obviously, you're going to take a look at the financials, and they look great. Awesome. It's in a good industry. Awesome. You've got spread out customer concentration. Amazing. But how dependent is the business on the ownership of the business? Because if I'm the buyer and I wanted to buy your business, I'm going to be removing you from the equation. And if I remove you from the equation and you are working 40 hours a week, 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week, you are in the operations, you're in the heart of revenue generating operations, and the relationships you have with your employees, you're like family together. Or maybe you do have family working there. And the clients and the customers of your business are like family. They've been coming to you for 20 years. The vendors have given you locked in special rates because you guys have such a good relationship. If I'm the buyer of that business, all of that is great news, but it's also simultaneously very concerning because I'm going to be taking ownership out of this equation, and I now need to fill in those shoes, and those are some deep shoes to fill, right? Because that means I personally am going to have to go work 40, 50, 60 hours a week in the business, and I'm not saying that there aren't buyers out there that will do that, but I'm saying you open up the pool of buyers, your options get deeper the more you can remove yourself from the business, the more the business runs on its own, the more management teams you have in place, the more operators you have in place, the more decision makers inside your business you have in place that will stay with the business, the more appealing your business will be. If you were to go take a 6-month vacation, even a 3-month vacation right now, what would happen to your business? Honestly, would revenue decline a little bit? Would you have to turn down some work because you're not there? Would customers start to wonder where you are? Do they call your cell phone when you're not at the office because you're the go-to person? All of those things you have to keep in mind, because when you sell your business, and let's say you sell 100% of it, now you can sell 70% or 80% and remain there, and that might work out. But let's say you sell 100% of it. That could be concerning for employees, for customers, for the revenue of the business, which becomes very concerning for the buyer. And so I would strongly encourage you to look at the situation as a whole, your business, and say, hey, I'm going to go sell my business today. And then put the shoes of a buyer on and look at it through the lens of a buyer and say, okay, my numbers are good, the industry's good, my customer concentration's good, but it is heavily dependent on me. And so if I leave, what's going to happen? And anything that does happen, the buyer then needs to fix, replace, or fill those shoes, if that makes sense, right? And so I always encourage people, if I can talk to them a few years out before they sell, is to put time and resources towards really developing somebody from within, making them more of a main operator, a general manager. Start building that leadership team or that management team. Start to delegate larger decision makings to a key individual in the business, and slowly start to phase yourself out. I'm not saying you don't have to you reduce your hours working, but maybe reduce your hours in the operations of the business and turn more towards making managerial decisions in the business, and let somebody take more control of the operations, and you can oversee it from more of a CEO or management role of the business. This will make your business much, much more appealing. And again, if you're working full-time, bringing revenue in, and you're a full-time operator in your business as well, there are buyers out there, but you are now narrowing your pool of buyers to really industry-specific buyers, people who are already in the same industry as you, who understand how to fill those shoes quickly. They may have their own business where they can merge those back-end systems and bring their own key personnel into play. But if you really want to deepen that pool of buyers and increase that price, you need to work on removing yourself from a lot of the revenue generating operations. And so that would be the biggest piece of advice I could give you, outside of all of the key metrics that buyers look for, the financials they're going to take a look at. It really is, how dependent is the business on the ownership of the business? Because when I buy the business, that ownership is gone, and I need to know how dependent it is on those people or that individual, right? So I would really encourage you, look at the situation, look at your business from a buyer's perspective, and just ask yourself, what would happen if I were gone? What would happen if I leave the business for a long period of time or indefinitely? Would it start going in the wrong direction? And if that is the answer, then you need to work on having somebody below you making decisions as you would make decisions, right? So I hope this helps. If you have any questions around this specific topic, you can let me know in the comments, or feel free to reach out to me, but I appreciate you watching.